TalkTainmentRadio.com.
We give you a reason to come.
The world's greatest radio.
We give you a reason to stay.
Radio, the way it should be heard.
You got the power.
The views and opinions expressed are those of the host and guests and not necessarily those of TalkTainmentRadio.com, 3MR Production, its ownership, management, or staff.
We've got the power.
This is The Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller, heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com, the world's greatest radio. Radio, the way it should be heard. And now, Mr. Neely Fuller.
If you do not understand white supremacy, which is racism, what it is and how it works, everything else that you understand will only confuse you. Only confuse you. Only confuse you.
This is The Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr., heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com. Radio, the way it should be heard, the world's greatest radio. Joining me, sitting in alongside on this show is Miss Earth Jallow. She does a fantastic show called Getting Down to Earth. It airs every Tuesday live at 5 p.m. How you doing, Earth?
Oh, I am great this AM. How are you, Corey?
Oh, hanging in here. And
Absolutely.
Of course, Mr. Fuller is here. He is the author of the incredible work, what we call the definitive work on racism, white supremacy, and other things, all things related to race. It's called the United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept, a textbook workbook for thought, speech, and or action for victims of racism. And he has another workout that he says it's in addition to that. It's called the Word Guide. And joining us live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. And, of course, you can always go to TalkTainmentRadio.com, click in programs, and pull up the podcast. Now, let me say something about the podcasting. We have a lot of programs that we do here at Talktainment Radio. So I'm going to ask our listeners to be just a little patient, because sometimes it can take us a couple of days to get those programs up. We have a lot of things that we do here at Talktainment Radio, so we try to get it up as soon as we possibly can. So we're going to ask you to just be patient with us as we are putting together a lot of different programs. And one of our programs that we love a lot, of course, is the Compensatory Concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. Mr. Fuller, how are you, sir?
I'm still learning.
All right. Earth, as you look at the state of our state, if you will, what do you see?
I see a lot of adults and young folks who can't handle the truth. We can't think straight. And it's a mess right now. We have to learn how to deal with the truth when it's brought to you. We have to define it. We have to interpret it. We have to work through it and deal with it. We're not doing that.
Mr. Fuller, Earth has said, and she's in that generation in particular that really has to pick this thing up and carry it forward. You and I are probably cruising toward that other end, and she is much younger, and she is one of the people that we talk to a lot and push a lot because they seem to get it. And your analysis of what she said, would you say she is pretty much on the ball with that assessment, Mr. Fuller?
That's a suggestion, apparently, that she's making, that black people have to be able to handle the truth, be able to find out, first of all, what the truth is. Mm-hmm. And that certainly would be one of the main things that needs to be, in fact, starting with everything under the, you might say, education,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
or just being here on the planet. First thing you want to know is exactly what's going on, who's doing what, and for what reason. And also an umbrella approach, what we are all here for on this planet. And we need to know the truth about that as best we can by searching out. I mean, using the one thing that we're given as creatures on this planet is the gift of logic. And so we should use logic to try to find the truth about everything. In fact, in the compensatory code, I say that our ultimate goal should be, logically speaking, should be to become universal man and universal woman. Why? Because we're in the universe. And in order to be universal people, you have to know a whole lot and understand what you know within the context that you're given. And that would be the first requirement, particularly in a world that's dominated by the system of white supremacy. And the reason I'm saying that searching for the truth and using the truth in such a way that we produce justice and correctness should be the priority, because the racists deal in falsehood. And that's the main thing that they need in order to do what they do, which
absolutely.
is mistreat people based on color.
You know, Mr. Fuller, you what you're saying is absolutely correct. And that brings me to my second point. And I think when we talk, I always ask you, how do we get the people to want to know the truth when you've been so indoctrinated with the white supremacy, where you go to church every week and you get this dumbed down religion that is not, really taking you where you need to be spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and I can sometimes even say physically. So how do we undo all of the years of programming to get the people to say, you know what, this has not been working for us for the last 450 years. How do we get them to say, let's try something different?
Well, you start with 4 questions, and I say these are 4 universal questions that people should ask every minute of each and every day that they're on the planet or wherever they happen to be. You ask 4 basic questions, and that is, what do I want to do? Mm-hmm. Everything starts with a question. What do I want to do? Why do I want to do what I want to do? How do I plan to do what I want to do? And then last but not least, what do I expect the constructive result to be? Mm-hmm. Now, these 4 questions are something that everyone should ask every time they make any kind of move, starting with getting up in the morning. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You ask yourself, what do I want to do? Because everybody wants to do something. Even a baby wants to do something. They want to get out of the crib. They want to crawl from one point of the room to the other point and pick up a ball or whatever they see over there. Every creature wants to do something, whether it's a person or an ant. So when a person gets up in the morning, the first thing that person should ask him or herself, and this includes me, it includes everybody on the planet.
Absolutely.
What do I want to do? And then the next thing I should ask myself, why do I want to do it? Why do I want to do it?
Right.
And then the next thing is, how do I plan to do it? So far, so well. But here's the clincher.
Okay.
What do I expect the constructive result to be of doing what it is that I want to do?
Okay.
Okay.
Now, this would apply to every person, young and old. I mean, regardless of gender, regardless of whatever. What do I want to do? Why do I want to do it? How do I plan to do it? And if I do it, what will be the constructive result? Because you should have a constructive result in every move you make. Otherwise, you have no logical reason for doing what you're planning to do.
Right.
Let me jump in here for a minute. We had a couple of technical problems at the beginning. Let me explain to everybody. Earth Jallow is here. She is going. I will be here in the first part of the program, but Earth will continue on after that. But she hosts a show called Getting Down to Earth. It's live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. If you want to check her out on talktainmentradio.com, it's called Getting Down to Earth. And Earth is a young person who is really out here doing quite a bit locally as well as nationally. She's talking with Mr. Fuller. And Earth, I wanted you to repeat your opening statement again about people dealing with reality. Say that again.
Absolutely. We can't deal with the truth, adults and young folks. We can't accept the truth when it's brought to us. We reject it, and we continue to do and believe in the same things that we've been doing and believing in, for over 400 years. That hasn't gotten us to where we need to be. And so I think that, like Mr. Fuller said, finding the truth and working through the truth and accepting the truth, is something that we really need to work on as a people. And
Mr. Fuller, you have a codified definition for what the word truth means. Could you go through that? Because I think we, as you said before, we use words, but what is the truth according to the codified definition?
Well, there's a slang expression saying, it is what it is, and the codified definition is very simple. Truth is that which is. And then a question is raised, that which is what? Whatever it is. In other words, what's the essence of a rock? If you're looking at a rock, you want to find out the truth about that rock, because there's different kind of rocks. You have quartz rocks, and you have different type of, shale rocks, they say, etc.
Stones.
They say that a diamond is a rock.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to find out the qualities of all of these rocks. That's the truth, because these rocks are different. They're not, we call them rocks. I mean, and you got to get into the definition of what exactly is a rock. What makes a rock, rather than call it butter or something. So you look at all the different types of rocks and you say, these rocks are here for a purpose. For what purpose? What can I use them for? Since not all rocks are the same. If you use a rock to do one thing, for one particular type of rock,
mm-hmm.
that type of rock may not work for something else. It may not work when you try to make it into a bridge or something.
Right.
Use that material.
Now,
so you find out that. So truth is that which is, meaning you find the essence of everything.
Okay.
Right.
Now the reason I asked you this is because a lot of people, I'm sure you're aware that after the election, there were some black folk who came out and said President Barack owes the black community. And now there are people who are believing that he is supposed to deliver for the black community. But I'm going to play a little clip from a white male. His name is Jordan Maxwell. He's been all over the web. He's been out there for years. He deals with a lot of issues. But he said something very significant in this clip. I'm not going to play the whole clip, but enough of it so that, and this is a white male talking about something that has a lot to do. I think I'm going to play it. Here we go. Let's see if we've got it.
No, I don't think so at all. I don't think the Queen has much power at all. I think she's just like anything else. She's a figurehead, just like Obama. He doesn't have any power over nothing. Got nothing. He's got no power over nothing. This is a white man's country. This is a white man's world. The white man from Europe dominates the whole planet. White men goes into any country and kill everybody, take over anything they want. This is a white man's country. It's a white man's world. I'm not bragging about it. I'm just telling you the fact of the matter. White people out of Europe have dominated Europe and then Europe has dominated the world. And so England has manipulated and exploited the races, the peoples of the world. The white man has been using exploitation, commerce to manipulate and exploit the whole human race. So I cannot believe that some young black guy that walks in and he's going to take over the old white man's establishment on the earth. Ain't going to happen. No. They brought him in for some reason to make him look like a schmuck one of these days soon. But he is not in control. The men who are behind him is Zbigniew Brzezinski.
All right. Okay. Now, Mr. Fuller, that comes from a white male. This is not a black male speaking. This is a white male who was given a session, and this is what he said. Now, if what he's saying, well, first of all, Earth, let me get your response to it because I heard you responding. Do you think were you shocked at what you heard, or is that consistent with what you believe to be true? And I'll give Mr. Fuller a chance to respond.
It was deep because you say these things and you look around you in the world in which we live right now, and that's the way the things are set up. And that's part of that truth that we were just talking about. And he's telling you, I mean, they don't hide it from you anymore. It's right out there in your face. The symbolisms are right out there in your face when you go out into the world every day. And he's telling you, this is not a black man speaking. He's telling you, the president doesn't run nothing. It's a white man's world. We go in, and if we see it, we're going to take it. If we want it, we will make it ours. And that's what they've been doing historically since we've ran into them. So he can't be telling a lie. He's telling the truth. It's history when you look back and see how they acquired what they have.
But doesn't that fit into this notion of people not living in reality when they don't see that reality? Is that what you're saying?
Can't handle the truth. The man done told you, and you'll get 50 million black folks to say, that ain't true. The president got power. The white man, da-da-da. They will argue what this man is saying. How can you argue that?
Mr. Fuller, does Barack Obama as president have the power to deliver on all the things that black folks think they're supposed to get?
He has the same power that I have.
Okay.
Meaning all people who are subject to the system of white supremacy, and that would include President Obama, are subject to the system of white supremacy. Now we have to start with the premise. Is there a system of white supremacy? And another question is, does it dominate the non-white people of this planet? In other words, the white people who believe in white supremacy, which means dominating and mistreating people based on color, are they the dominant religious and political force among the people of this planet?
Mr. Fuller, hold up on that, because I'm going to give you a chance to respond to that. Give you a big chance to respond to that, because that becomes the key point at which we're talking about. Stay right there. More to come with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. on the compensatory concept, heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com.
The midnight hour is close at hand. Darkness falls across the land.
Countdown to the end or the beginning.
December 21st, 2012.
Is this the day of reckoning?
December 21st, 2012.
Is this the end? Follow us on Phenomenal Monday.
Heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com.
Radio, the way it should be heard. Is the day of reckoning near?
This hour brought to you by the Upper Cup Coffee Company. From lattes to decaf, coffee is our culture. 79 Parsons Avenue, downtown. 220-0206 or theuppercup.com.
At TalkTainmentRadio.com, we don't just talk, we don't just entertain. We've combined talk radio with the latest in online entertainment, with the ability to listen live at no cost 24/7. We are the premier online radio station. Outperforming the digital quality of our competitors, our shows are produced in a state-of-the-art studio by the best radio professionals in the business. Hosting live shows on location at some of the area's greatest and most popular events, we give you exactly what you want to hear with talk radio that matters to you. Join us online at TalkTainmentRadio.com, where you can listen live or play podcasts from the best shows in online talk radio. We give you a reason to come. We give you a reason to stay. TalkTainmentRadio.com. Radio, the way it should be heard.
Touch modality. Relax, release, rejuvenate, de-stress. Let us assist you in addressing all of your head-to-toe issues. Discover the benefits of massage through Touch Modalities, Massage, and Bodywork. Visit us at touchmodalities.com. www.touchmodalities.massageplanet.com or call for an appointment at 888-764-4798 or 556-6014.
Welcome to that time of year. Time to start planning your holiday shopping list. And if you have book lovers on your list, then think about a visit to the Village Bookshop on Route 161. Located in an historic old church building in Linworth, the Village Bookshop is Ohio's largest book clearinghouse outlet. Save up to 90% on the widest array of books available anywhere, with something for just about everybody on your shopping list, even yourself. The Village Bookshop, just west of Route 315 on 161, open 7 days a week, 614-889-2674.
The United Independent Compensatory Code System concept by Neely Fuller is considered as one of the substantial and basic books for understanding and effectively countering racism. Neely Fuller will turn upside down everything you've heard and everything you think you know about racism and how it works. Call area code 202-484-5461. 202-484-5461.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!
We've got the power.
Justice is better than racism.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here with Mr. Neely Fuller. I am Earth Jallo. Mr. Fuller, you still there? Mr. Fuller?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, there we go. All right, you wanted to finish up your point. We were discussing Jordan Maxwell and what he had to say about the president not having power and this actually being a white man's country.
Well, the way I'd like to express it is that we're under a system of white supremacy. I call it the system of white supremacy in capital letters. And white supremacy is racism, and racism is white supremacy. And that means that if you're classified as white, I'm not talking about all white people, I'm talking about the most powerful white people and the smartest white people, many of them are white supremacists. And they are the dominant influence among the people of the planet, according to evidence. And what does it mean by white supremacy? It just doesn't mean that you're in charge because you're white. It means that you're in charge based on being white, and you're using that being in charge, having that power over other people to do things that shouldn't be done, like mistreating people based on color. That's what white supremacy is about. Literally, it's about mistreating people, dominating people, and mistreating the people that you're dominating based on the color of the people. And these people, over a period of time, have become the dominant influence among the people of the entire planet. Now, the subject people, including myself and President Obama, we're all subject, all non-white people, all people classified as non-white, are subject to the system of white supremacy. And that means that they have to do what the white supremacists want done, as long as they're subject to that system. Now, we were talking about power. Now, what power does President Obama have, being a non-white person in a system of white supremacy? He has the same power that all other non-white people have under the system of white supremacy, and that is the power to ask for what he wants. I have that power too.
Yes.
Now, whether I'll be heard or not is a different thing. President Obama's in a position where he can be at least heard by a great number of white people who practice white supremacy. And these white people will decide that they will act on what President Obama is asking for. He only has the power to ask. He cannot demand anything. I want to underline that. He cannot demand anything
What will you tell
of the white supremacists. He can only ask.
But
right.
But Mr. Fuller, I want you to tell our people why he can't demand, because a lot of people, when I talk to them, they say, oh, we can't jump on the president, we can't call him out, or hold him accountable for, not doing anything for black folks or whatever. But, tell the audience what it is, what you mean when you say, he can only ask, he can't demand.
Well, when you demand something, it's like the Corleones. See, in other words, they only ask once.
That's right.
And the next thing you know, you get a horse's head in your bed or something like that. Or you get your own head in the bed.
Exactly.
Now, see, people who demand anything on the planet, any people, once you make a demand, that means that if your demand is not met, you have the muscle, you have the power to make the person that you are demanding something of do what you want done. I started off this segment of the program talking about wants. The white supremacists, when they want something, They demand it.
That's
they
right.
might ask. They might ask politely,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just a courtesy.
Right.
Because they can do it without asking. That's what power. That's what real power is. You can do stuff without asking anybody anything.
That's right.
All right. Now, there's no non-white person anywhere on this planet who has proven that he or she can demand anything of the white supremacists. Why? Because they don't have the muscle. That's why.
So
this is the truth. So all we can do, just like slaves on a ship, you can ask, sir, ma'am, can I come up on deck and get a breath of fresh air? Can I bring my family up to get a breath of fresh air? Can we get a little more food down here? Can we get a better sanitation facilities down here at the bottom of the slave ship? Can we do this? Can we do that? That's asking. President Obama has that ability to ask, and he's heard on some things, and some things he's given, some things he's not.
Right.
But he's just in a position to ask. Now, black people have to understand that. He can't demand anything.
Right.
Because if he demands anything, he's got to have the muscle to back it up. And where does that muscle come from?
That I guess that would be the military. We don't have.
Well, I mean, but there we have it. The white supremacists are the only military
right
on this planet that counts.
That's right.
The people who believe in military strength are all white supremacists when it comes to the ones who are in position to back up their demands. Now, there are a lot of people strutting around in pretty little uniforms with a lot of stuff on their chest who think that they have muscle to deal with the white supremacists, but that's just a uniform.
Absolutely.
They're just actors, because when it comes down at the beginning and the end of each day, when they get in the face of the white supremacists and say, I will now use muscle to make you do what I want done, so far, everybody who is non-white who has tried that has been slapped down.
Yeah, literally.
Instantly. I mean, they've gone into shock. All right? I mean, a pretty uniform and standing on a balcony waving a sword won't cut it when you're dealing with the white supremacists. So
That's
they ought
right.
to come out of that act altogether. Everybody who has some type of strutting army, and you look and see that that strutting army is a bunch of black people or a bunch of non-white people who think that they have muscle with their strutting army to deal with the white supremacists, they got another thing coming.
That's right. So I always have questions. How do we get the muscle? Where do we need to start to get the muscle to get from under this system of white supremacy?
With programs like this one, you first reveal that there is a system of white supremacy, which you yourself have said right here on this program. When you talk to people, they act like they don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
And some of them will deny it. And as long as you're in denial, as long as you're on a slave ship and you're in denial about being on a slave ship, you can't do anything.
That's right.
You have to admit that you are in a slave position, and being subject to a system of racism is slavery. In
Right.
fact, slavery by compensatory definition, by truthful definition, is any time you are being mistreated and you don't know what to do about it. You are a slave.
Whoa.
By definition.
Wow, then that's deep, because we don't look at it. We don't look at it like that,
No, we don't look at it. We have been taught that being a slave means you're in chains,
Right.
and that somebody is standing over you with a whip all day and cursing you out and calling you names, and that's what we call slavery, because we have that image in our mind that that's traditional slavery.
Right.
But slavery is if you're sitting on a job and you're being mistreated, and you don't know what to do about your mistreatment. You are, in fact, a slave.
Wow. And and I think that's part of the truth that I brought up in us dealing with that. People I talk to, they'll say, "Oh no, I was having a conversation over some dinner with one of my sister friends, and it came up how she dressed and how she looks, maybe outside of our culture more Asian." And so we started talking about slavery and different things like that, and she said, "I'm tired of hearing about slavery." And I said, whoa. I said, the Jews don't get tired of hearing about, the Holocaust and, and how could you possibly say that you're tired of hearing about slavery when we have not overcome that system? We still in slavery. You understand?
Yes, I understand, but when you're talking to someone, that's why definitions are so important. That's why I came out with a word guide in 2010, because we don't look at slavery as being what it actually is. It's just another form of mistreatment. It's just mistreatment by another name. You can just say that it's mistreatment, because that's what slavery is. Anytime you're being mistreated, anytime someone is saying you must do this, you must do that, you can't do this, you can't do that, and you do what I say do, and you look at it and it's not just, and you're doing it, and you don't know what to do about it, you are in slavery. Slavery comes about from being mistreated and not knowing what to do about it, and you have slavery right there.
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's in any age, in any era, involving any people. That is the literal definition of slavery.
Wow.
When you know what to do about it, and you do what you know, and you come out from under that mistreatment, you're no longer a slave.
See,
when you have to do anything, I mean, and you're being mistreated by someone else, I got to emphasize that, and that's what you tell people. See, the lady told you she's tired of hearing about slavery. She was, well, this is fine. Everybody should be tired of hearing about it, and they should be tired of being a slave.
Yeah, tired of living.
So the question that I would pose to the lady is, wait a minute, let's get straight about what slavery is, and just ask the question of the lady. See, this brings it down to the practical part of the everyday part, which is what I try to write about, what you do about stuff every day.
Right.
So the person says, I'm tired of having a conversation about slavery. So the question now is, are you being mistreated in any way? Is anybody anywhere mistreating you, either directly or indirectly? So that question has to be asked and answered by the person that you're talking to.
Wow.
See, I'm talking about the way the code is supposed to work, the compensatory code, because it's just about solving problems. The lady is correct if you're talking about something that happened centuries ago,
right,
or thousands of years ago. She is correct if she says, I'm tired of hearing about that, when that has nothing to do with me now.
Right, if she's
free.
free.
Would be 100% correct. But what you do is fast forward that and say, okay, we won't talk about slavery. We'll talk about mistreatment.
Yeah.
Now, is there anybody that you know that's being mistreated? Are you being mistreated yourself? I mean, just for 1 minute of a day, are you being mistreated at any time? And so she could answer that question, all right? Now that brings that word slavery up into the word that slavery is really all about, mistreatment.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? When you make the word slavery and mistreatment synonymous, now we are on a page we can deal with, and that's always up to date. Because somebody's always being mistreated.
Absolutely. Somebody somewhere is being mistreated. I do like that. I want to take this opportunity right now to let everybody know about your book, where they can get the terms and the definitions for today's society. The United Independent Compensatory Code System Concept, a compensatory counter-racist codified word guide by Neely Fuller Jr. Where can they pick your books up at?
All right. Well, it's a basic book, and also a word guide that's an addition to the basic book. And you can get both books by punching up on your computer the word tiny, TINY, .cc/forward, and the word Fuller in capital letters. I'm going to repeat that. The word tiny, TINY, .cc, / then the word Fuller in capital letters. And what should come up on your screen is a form for ordering both books and a brief description of what's in the books.
Absolutely. Mr. Fuller, Jordan Maxwell, You have a man who's standing before a crowd of folks traveling around the world telling you exactly what is going on. Why is it that we cannot interpret, hear him, understand what he's saying, accept the truth, and like you say, get the books with the definitions that's going to help us to move through, figure out, ask ourselves the 4 questions: the what, the why, the how, and then the what do I expect as the end result. Why is it that we don't want to believe what is before us?
Well, because we usually believe whatever we have been presented with. And if you're presented with something that tells you what your situation is and is truthful, then that's all that's really necessary, because people cannot deny to themselves what they know to be true.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that what you have is confusion, and the white supremacists are the masters of confusion. So the white supremacists tell black people, non-white people, what to do, what to value, what not to value, where to go, when to go, what's important, what's not important. So you get confused when you get all these different signals all day long. You're being given information. Everybody's given information. This is why black people are the most razzle-dazzle people on the planet, because under the system of white supremacy, the white supremacists, racist man and racist woman, have done everything that they can do to keep them that way, which is confused. In other words, what do you value when it comes to what you want to do? I started off saying this program. What is it you want to do? And so the average black person says, well, I don't know what I want to do. I mean, I need somebody to tell me what I want to do. I need somebody, I don't know what I want. I mean, what do you got? And that was an expression back during the so-called quote-unquote civil rights era.
Right.
Because some white people were asking black people, so you're out here riding in the streets and whatnot, what do you want? What do you people want? You people. What do you people want? And some people start responding after a while, but what they were responding was, what do you got?
Right.
That was the expression I heard. What do you got?
Wow.
Now, that's not an adequate answer. See, we should have very surgical ideas about what we want and why we want it. And we have to really think about that. That's why I started off this program saying, what do you want to do? Because every organism wants to do something. And then why do you want to do it? See, so you got 9 areas of activity. Economics, what do you want to do in economics? And why do you want to do it? See, that's very important. And what do you expect a constructive result to be? See, just wanting to do something is not adequate.
Right.
See, like they use this word freedom. Freedom to do what? See, we got to ask a series of questions after we ask the first question. That is how you get to the truth and the essence of anything, not just ask one question. A person says, well, do you believe in freedom? And everybody in unison says, oh, yes, I believe in freedom. But then you should ask another question. Freedom to do what?
To do what?
In order to accomplish what?
Right.
And with your freedom, if you do what you want to accomplish, what will be the constructive result? See, you want to underline those 2 words, constructive result, because everybody believes in freedom. I mean, Adolf Hitler believed in freedom, freedom to do what he wants to do. I mean, you won't find an ant or a deer or a rabbit or a person who does not believe in freedom. When they say there are some people that don't believe in freedom, that has to be explained, because everybody believes in freedom.
Right.
It just depends on freedom to do what, when, where, to whom, for whom, against whom. Let's ask a series of questions, and that's the essence of codification, of what we might say even intelligence. Not just stop at asking and answering 1 or 2 questions. And I have said that even in the area of sex, the 8th area of activity. I've said that when 2 people sit down and start saying, well, it looks like we're getting kind of serious now. I mean, so maybe we should ask each other some questions. before we get too involved.
I want you to stay right there, Mr. Fuller.
Right.
TalkTainmentRadio.com, the world's greatest radio. We go where you go. Check us out on WCRS FM 98.3 and 102.1, and also on your smartphone or tablet. Go to TalkTainmentRadio.com, click on programs for the podcast and blogs, click Listen Live, and participate by calling 1-877-932-9766, 1-877-932-9766. Stay right there. We'll be right back with Mr. Neely Fuller. I want to call him Doctor so bad.
The midnight hour is close at hand. Darkness falls across the land.
Countdown to the end or the beginning.
December 21st, 2012.
Is this the day of reckoning?
December 21st, 2012.
Is this the end? Follow us on Phenomenal Monday.
Heard exclusively on TalkTainmentRadio.com.
Radio, the way it should be heard. Is the day of reckoning near?
My son was drinking too much. When did he spiral out of control? Should I have seen the warning signs? Somehow I felt I was responsible for his drinking. I was very frustrated, and I knew I had to get help. When I came to Al-Anon, I wanted to straighten out my son's life. His drinking was tearing our family apart. In Al-Anon family groups, I found people who understood and cared because they were dealing with the same problems I was. My first Al-Anon meeting gave me hope and the knowledge that I was not alone.
Before you can help the problem drinker in your life, you need to help yourself first. For an Al-Anon family group meeting near you, call 1-888-4-AL-ANON, 1-888-425-2666. Online at www.alanonfamilygroups.org. That's alanonfamilygroups.org. A message from Al-Anon Family Groups.
Green, green, green. It's our home, it's our dream. For a life that's healthy and clean, make it green, green, green. My mom said making it green is making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Make sure you test your home for radon. It's easy. Just call 866-730-GREEN. Make it green, green, green.
A message from the U.S. EPA.
Hey, can I tell you something?
Yes, what is it?
Every day I'm getting bullied at school by a group of kids.
What? Why?
It's only one person that pushes and hits me. The others stand around laughing and taking videos.
What do you do? And how does it make you feel?
I don't do anything, and it hurts a whole lot.
Well, Tear Bear says it's okay to tell on the bully and bystanders.
Tell who?
The proper authorities, like your parents, your teacher, the principal, or even the police.
Thanks. I will tell.
Business owners and managers, be among the first to experience the latest in cutting-edge technology from Microsoft, HP, and others during the Microsoft Across America mobile event experience. Learn how the newest technology tools can help your business grow. Don't miss this fun and free event.
Maybe you can drive my car, and maybe I love you.
Hi, Shaquille O'Neal for RAD, recording artists, actors, and athletes against drunk driving. When you celebrate this holiday season, remember that life is very precious. If you're going to party, just plan ahead. Don't drink and drive. I repeat, do not drink and drive. And promise to designate a driver before you celebrate.
A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, RAD, the National Association of Broadcasters, and the Ad Council.
This is Herschel F. Craig. On Columbus City Council, I listen to State News and Views with Charlita Tavares on TalkTainmentRadio.com all of the time.
I'm Tammy. I got your lucky number, heard exclusively on Conversate in the AM at 11 a.m. Mondays and Fridays. Make sure you tune in for your lucky number. Punch in TalkTainmentRadio.com and click on Listen Live and listen for your lucky number.
We've got the power.
Justice is better than racism.
TalkTainmentRadio.com, the world's greatest radio. This is Earth Jallow. You are tuned in to the compensatory concept with Mr. Neely Fuller. Are you there, Mr. Fuller?
I'm here.
Absolutely. You can go right on and continue your point. You know, I don't like to waste a lot of time with my babbling, but I like to continue the conversation and get, right back to your point so that we can get as much information out as we possibly can.
Well, that was the point that I was making, and that is about slavery, and what it is mistreatment, and that. Oh yes, I was talking about the sexual aspect, male and female, non-white people subject to the system of white supremacy. Now, what is the problem between black males and black females?
Yeah.
The primary problem is not enough questions are asked before the first act of sexual intercourse. That's the problem. If they solve that problem, all the other problems that come after that will be super easy to solve. They'll be minor. Not even worth discussing for the most part.
I know that's
they
right.
will be so minor.
What
do I mean by enough questions?
Yeah, I was going there.
Usually we think of maybe about 10 or 15 questions, and then we're good to go. We're head for the bedroom. No, it should be something like 200 questions, and 200 of the roughest questions that a person can possibly ask.
So 200 of the most...
I would say around 150 to 200 questions, and not just any type of questions, but I mean 200 of the questions. I would say somewhere 150 to 200 questions should cover just about every question a person will ever ask in their entire existence of another person, if you really want to know that person.
I agree.
Meaning, the more the two people know about each other, and including all of their faults, I'll say particularly all of their faults. So you want to know the faults first.
Right.
And these are the roughest questions. And both persons have to be willing to ask and answer these questions. They must be, the interaction between the two must be comfortable enough that they are ready to ask and answer every question without skipping over any, truthfully.
And you said,
and that takes a little time.
Yeah, a little
get
time.
That comfortable, to get that comfortable with the person. Now that is within itself slows everything down.
Exactly.
And that's the first thing you want to do is slow everything down, because what happens in so-called relationships, people jump into them real fast, and they jump out of them real fast. Because of some dissatisfaction. See, when you are dissatisfied, you get away from anything you're dissatisfied with.
Yeah, make you uncomfortable.
But when you are very satisfied, you go toward anything that you're satisfied with, whether it's a person or a city or whatever. People always try to go toward the thing that they're most satisfied with. And they know what they're satisfied with.
That's right.
But if you ask these questions well in advance of getting sexually involved, what I mean by sexually is sexual intercourse. See what I mean? Then, and you have to do all of these questions and answers before the first act.
That's right.
Because after the first act,
That's it.
You've lost a lot in translation there.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, you said that you should be comfortable enough to ask the questions, and I must agree with that, because I think that you should be comfortable enough with the person. You should be comfortable enough to ask the questions way before you get in the bed, because if you get in the bed and you haven't asked any questions, then you shouldn't be that comfortable to be taking your clothes off and revealing your essence to somebody that you really don't know. But I also was going to say, the 200 questions. Do you already have those written out, or can we pick those up in a book? Or if you don't have them written out, can we get together and we can put these questions together, Mr. Fuller, and me and you can get this book out and get our residuals coming in real good?
They will be in the next volume. See, I'm in the process of replacing the basic book with an expanded, revised, and updated version of the basic book that I have out here now.
Okay.
Even though the book that I have out here now is very valid.
Oh, yeah.
For what it covers, but just what you're saying now, like the details of the questions, is not in the book that I currently have. That will be in the expanded version, because people have asked questions just like you're asking now. What are the questions? So I was going to have a sampling, but a person can ask any question, even now. I mean, because codification is about the united independent concept, which means each person is important in what he or she wants to know about another person. So you know what you want to know about anybody, or you should want, think about it. So every person can just say, now, what would I want to know about someone that I was going to get serious with?
Mm-hmm.
And not only for a short period of time, but like forever.
Right.
What are all the questions that I would want answers to? And when people put it in that frame of reference, most people can make up their own questions and just write them out. But I will have these as a guide. I will have about 150 to 175.
Mm-hmm.
I think I won't have as many as 200,
right.
but it will be in the next volume where I will say, now, these are samplings of some of the questions that should be asked and answered by both parties before they make that final step.
And do you... Right.
Which is intimate sexuality.
And Mr. Fuller, do you know around about when we can expect this new volume? Because I think the folks in the studio, we pretty anxious to get our hands on a copy of the new volume with those questions, because, you know, I am going to go ham with the questions. Okay.
Oh, well, some people, I mean, because I've been talking about this for about 2 years now, and my new volume will be out sometimes, hopefully, within about a year.
Okay.
I'm talking about a full year.
Mm-hmm.
See, but in the interim, in a compensatory way, compensatory means making up for what's missing. For the people who are out there now, within the sound of my voice, I have been saying this for years. When I first came up with the idea that by discovering that people were not asking enough questions, and by thinking back, I mean, in the existence of everybody I've been associated with, including myself, I mean, maybe enough questions weren't asked, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I looked around and I said, that's the key. That's the key to all this dissension. I mean, that's very important. I mean, all of these arguments that come up, all of these Saturday night fights, all of this screaming and yelling and whatnot, it comes from not knowing enough in front.
That's right.
That's
right.
what it all comes from. And so if you know enough in front, it's nothing like that confidence of saying, oh, I really know this person. I don't have to guess about anything about this person.
Or
I know this person.
Yes, right. Or asking asking those questions and realizing this may not be the person for me, and
you would find that out because maybe in the first 15 minutes, if you ask enough questions, you'll say, "Uh-oh."
Right.
What are some of the questions? Some of the questions these are things that cause a lot of conflict. Oh, I didn't know you were on parole. I didn't know you were HIV positive. I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't know that you had 2 other wives.
Right.
You never divorced.
Right.
See what I mean?
12 children.
I didn't know. These 3 words keep showing up, and I repeated these 3 words over and over again in what we call relationships.
Wow.
What you will hear over and over again, I didn't know.
Yep.
I didn't know. Those 3 words.
And my favorites, my 4, if I had known.
If I had known. If I had, that's a lady talking to a girlfriend, a schoolmate or somebody.
Absolutely.
I mean, if I had known. If I had known he was like that.
Mm-hmm.
See what I mean? If I had known that he would spend the rent money on gambling.
Right.
If I had known. See, these things should have been known in the first place.
That's right.
See what I mean? Do you believe in spending money? Spending money on what?
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe in celebrating holidays?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Somebody will say, I've given these kind of examples. I didn't know that you visit your sister 3 times a year and that you draw out all the money in the bank,
to go
visit her. I didn't know that, Well, you never asked. You see what I mean? Yeah, 3 times a year I come up with $1,700. I always have to have $1,700 3 times a year because I am definitely going to visit my sister. And I ain't letting nobody come between me and my sister. And we get together and we have a good time. And it takes me where she lives. She doesn't live anywhere close. I have to get an airline ticket and all like that. And 3 times a year, I got to come up with $1,700 one way or another, because I am definitely going to visit my sister. I've always done it. I always will do it. Now, do you want to go along with that or not?
Right.
And so he's sitting there in the cafe booth, and he's saying, well, $1,700 a year 3 times to visit your sister. I don't know about this. These things weren't discussed.
Right.
All right? They were just talking about how much they liked each other and how much they enjoyed each other's company, and that they like to go to the theater and all like that, and what clubs they like to go to, or whatever it is that they do, that they like doing. But this thing about visiting her sister never came up.
Right.
That was not on the radar. So you have to ask questions about money.
A lot of times...
What is your relationship between you and money? All right.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Or, asking if one of the other partners wants to have children. That is a big issue in our community, and we don't talk about that.
Sure, that should be talked about. I mean, some guy might say that, well, I came from a big family, and, hey, I want at least, just 5 children. I mean, that's just a start for my family. I mean, because
right.
Everybody in my family, I mean, we believe in a whole bunch of children. And so the lady might say, well, I think that about 2 is enough, at very best, considering what it costs. You're talking about college costs and all like that. You say, well, I'll worry about that when I get to it, I just believe in having a whole lot of babies.
Yeah, okay.
Or the person might say, I don't want any children, ever.
Ever. That's right.
But this was not brought up.
Wasn't talked about, wasn't discussed.
These things are supposed to be known way in front.
Absolutely. I want to say thank you so much. You are so full of wisdom. I so enjoy every time I get the opportunity to converse with you. So I want you to have a beautiful rest of your week until we meet again. I want to thank your listeners. You have been tuned into the compensatory concept with Mr. Neely Fuller Jr. This is Earth Jallo. We are heard on TalkTainmentRadio.com, the world's greatest radio. Tune in.
Thanks.
TalkTainmentRadio.com and me, Earth Jallo, getting down to earth wishes you and yours a very festive Kwanzaa. Season's greetings. Radio the way it should be heard.
Hang all the mistletoe. I wanna get to know you better. Yeah. This Christmas, and as we trim the tree, how much fun it's gonna be together. This Christmas, firesides blazing bright. We're caroling through the night, and this Christmas will be a very special Christmas for me, yeah. Merry Christmas, yeah. Letters and cards are here. My world is filled with cheering you, girl. This Christmas, and as I look around, your eyes outshine the time they do, girl. Yeah. This Christmas, firesides blazing bright. We're caroling through the night. Yeah. This Christmas will be a very special Christmas for me. Yeah. Oh well, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, yeah. This Christmas, whoa, yeah, yeah. This Christmas, firesides blazing bright. We're caroling through the night, yeah. This Christmas will be a a very special Christmas for me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Merry Christmas, everybody shake a hand. Yeah, shake a hand, yeah, yeah. Merry, Merry Christmas.
You got the power. Radio, the way it should be heard.